The governor's budget address was historic in some ways because this is the first time that Vermont's total budget has exceeded $5 billion when you include federal funds. Now, we've always been Vermont strong, but it's time that we become Vermont smart, and I think this budget falls short in that regard. The governor talked about a number of things, but I think what's most striking are the things that he didn't talk about. He didn't talk about health care and the ongoing costs associated with the attempt to move to single payer, and those costs are not insubstantial. Today, for example, we saw for the first time an RFP issued by the Green Mountain Care Board that calls for the hiring of a public relations and marketing company experienced in, quote, message control, unquote. I didn't realize that Act 48 included a division of propaganda. We argued long and hard in the debate last year about reducing the cost of health care by reducing advertising and public relations expense. And I'm amazed and astounded that the first RFP that they issue is for advertising and public relations expense. And he didn't talk about that. He didn't talk at all about energy and this move to a green and renewable energy future. An energy future that, according to the Public Service Board, will add somewhere between $300 million and $450 million in cost to ratepayers over the next 20 years. Not mentioning and also not counting the additional costs of cogeneration because of this move to unreliable and not necessarily baseload power. He didn't talk about that at all. He talked about the high cost of education, but what he didn't talk about is the notion that over the past 10 years, education costs have increased per pupil by 149.9%. And despite all of the so-called cuts that we talk about, if you look at the audited financial statements, you'll see that education costs has increased every year. And you'll see that the general fund cost this year in the 2013 budget is up over 5%. But he didn't talk about that today. We talked about education and the high cost of education. But the best they could come up with was consolidating some supervisory unions and save $9 million. Well, $9 million on a $1.4 billion a year budget is 0.6%. If that's the best we can do in controlling education costs, we have a real problem. So